so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take about a minute and a half to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm sincerely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and grandest version of themselves. So if you've been looking for a way to easily get organic superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, like I was doing before I found Purium, I highly recommend going to positivehead.com/transformation and checking out the videos and interviews there where I dive deeply into discussions explaining why I take these products every day. And should you ultimately end up on iShopPurium.com to purchase any of their 50 plus amazing superfood products, be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for a 25% discount. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. So blessed to be with you all. As always, in all ways, it is a magical Monday here in the studio as I record. And today we're going to talk about the idea of time and the law of emergence, allowing what already is to emerge as opposed to trying to co-create or not co-create as opposed to trying to create or force kind of that energy of moving things around. And I've talked a lot about this lately, and it keeps bubbling up in new ways and exciting ways to sort of explore it. I think the last time we dove down the rabbit hole of a specific time discussion was maybe last October or November. So this is definitely a big one as we become masters of time and space, really what we're all learning to do. Time travelers, no time travelers, just exploring that fascinating concept because it's something that causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. Not enough time. I'm running out of time. When you start really understanding the ultimate truth is that you're floating in eternity and all you have is time, because there's no such thing. So your consciousness always is and is always sifting and shifting between different perspectives that are sort of building on the last that give you the illusion of time. But ultimately, you can't ever run out of this precious commodity because it doesn't exist. So before I go deeper down that rabbit hole, I would like to take a moment to read a review on iTunes. You guys know I love my iTunes reviews. Not only do they help us to reach new people, but also also help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. So if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, we're getting really close to 1,000, like 986 as of now. So about to cross into the thousands. So any of you have been holding out for a while, now would be a great time to show some love and help to push us over that imaginary mark that just feels cool, but really doesn't matter. So even if you don't review, I still love you. And this one came in by Calston and says, synchronicities abound. I recently jumped into the world of Positive Head earlier this fall, 2018, and wow, my soul has been full on ever since. Not just in thought, though, I felt amazing, and the synchronicities keep leading me onward. For a long time, I've been on my spiritual journey, and a few years ago, stumbled into Abraham Hicks. I love how Brandon plays clips from her, but also I had been craving more. I feel like it is being delivered here on the Positive Head. Spiritual leaders and thought provokers from around the world are being featured to expand and solidify my beliefs daily. It's current and relevant, just what I had been looking for. Most days when I listen, I say to myself, Kelly, today's the day to write a review. I love the way Brandon asked nicely for listeners to write them and adds, if not, I'll love you anyway. I get so much out of them, and I feel like it's a small way to give back. So today is the day. Why? Because for a while, I've been trying to see which path I choose to follow that feels best. I'm a very airy Gemini and get distracted and try out new projects often. For the past few months, I've been thinking about becoming a spiritual life coach. It's something my soul is pulling me towards. But I have to show myself I can do this before I dive in head first. I made an agreement to myself last night that I would begin to allow a space for people to express themselves fully to me before I jump in and throw my opinions, stories, or funny anecdotes on top. I teach yoga, and I challenged myself last night to start allowing the students to lead the conversation after class instead of me filling up the silence with anything that just pops in my head. To allow the silence to settle and to see what naturally comes through. I felt this would be a great exercise for myself if I truly am being called into the spiritual work of actively listening to people and helping them in a meaningful way for them, not me, which ultimately I will benefit from in other amazing ways. Today's topic on humility and ego, episode 828, was seriously synchronistic for me. I will continue to play it back and re-listen to all the amazing quotes and wisdom shared by Brandon. This episode was exactly what I needed and will need as I continue my challenge to myself to stand back, pause, and allow opportunities to take place and unfold without me/ego stepping in and taking control. Thank you. I love you so much, Kelly. How perfect, Kelly, as that's what we're going to talk about today in this sort of hybrid conversation of understanding time and also how to take that understanding and allow it to work for us instead of against us. And part of that allows things to emerge as opposed to force, right? As I was just talking about. So thank you for taking the time to review. Love you so much. And yeah, so one other thing before I dive in further into that topic. I wanted to throw out, for those of you who haven't heard yet, the bubbling up potential of a retreat at the Mystic Manor, as I'm calling it. The show Optimistic, spelled MYSTIC, that I've been talking about for some time, sort of going back and forth between, those of you who've been listening for a long time have heard me talk about the back and forth between the idea of doing a traveling show where I highlight magical people around the world versus a talk show / variety show type show where, I have a fixed set and locale where people come to me. And so looks like we are going to be manifesting in 2019, co-creating this space in Venice Beach, California, which is seriously like a hub of consciousness in the awakening renaissance that is happening on our planet. It is such a bright spot. It's right near the LAX airport. So, of course, a lot of the people that I would like to have on as guests, fly through Los Angeles, right? So it's really, really close to there. And what we're looking to do, this The Mystic Manor is this epic 6,000 square foot property. Oh, it's on 12,000 square feet of land, and it's a 6,000 square foot house with 6 bedrooms. And having one or two of those that we actually have different listeners come out and get to experience a retreat style, time spent with me. We'll coordinate different things, maybe even potentially like plant medicine type stuff, and them getting to be on the show, being a part of whatever show is being filmed that week. So you'd be sitting down for a few moments with me and the Soul Share guest interview of the week and talk about anything that's bubbling up in your life. You'd sort of be the people's representative, right? Being on the show and coming in at some point in the production, in the recording, and us talking about what's going on in your life, any questions or issues that we may be able to help to optimize, right? To shift your perspective on. So that's super exciting for me. And I know quite a few of you have been reaching out after I announced this potential coming, here in it would probably be realistically late spring, summer until it would begin filming and people would begin coming through and every week or so having different guests come through. So if you're interested in that and coming, a lot of people have been asking me to do a retreat for many, many years now. So I'm super excited of tying that idea together with this new video production show and and you guys getting to be a part of it, right? Kind of like the P-Head Posse shows on Friday. So if you're interested in that, that's something that you get a big yes, excitement, or if it scares you a little bit, but it also excites you. I always say your fears, if it excites you and scares you, that's probably a good indication of something you should do. And so all I'm asking you to do at this point is just to reach out and let me know that you are interested. Even if you're trepidatious, you can say that if you want. Let me know that. But Brandon@positivehead.com is my email. Just starting to collect names of people who would be interested. As the details unfold further, I'll be reaching out to anyone who emails me to see if it is in alignment for you to come and live with me for a week and be on the show and all those things and whatever other goodness that we cook up over there at the Mystic Manor. So super excited about that. More details will be coming soon. So yeah, what's got me thinking about time and revisiting this ever-present important topic? We circle it all the time, pun intended, here on the show. Dun-dun-dun. Someone out there laugh at me. I've had multiple friends recently who've been, just in the last week, and I shared one or both of the stories. I forget what I say when and where a lot of times. I'll meet people in person and they'll be like, I'll start telling them a story or something. They're like, yeah, I know. You already say that on the podcast. I'm like, oh yeah. I don't remember what I say when the mic's on or off. So I repeat myself. But, what's happened in the last few weeks is, or in the last week, I've had two girlfriends who both had told me cool stories about their experience. Actually, so one of them, as I think I did share on the show, has been having experiences where her lucid dreaming is sort of merging with her waking world a lot of times. So landscapes will shift in her waking life, and her dreaming life is just as real and vivid as her waking life. And so it's this weird, hybrid thing that's happening. And she was, sitting at a piano, which she doesn't play, the other day. And all of a sudden she saw a ring or something on the piano that triggered all of a sudden her connecting to a parallel / past life in the 1800s, where that version of herself was crying, playing the piano, sad that her lover or her husband had left. And so in this time, she was able to play that same piece that was happening in the past, or parallel, as I would kind of say. It's all happening in another now, right? That we would call linearly the past, but it's really happening in that moment. And she's opened up enough to connect with that other her and actually able to play the piano like this other her, which is fascinating to me. Such a cool story. And then, I had another friend months back, and she was saying the same thing. She was, she said she can be sitting here and all of a sudden, in her normal life, and all of a sudden she'll be fully immersed in another event happening in another life. And while that's happening, she's no more or less her 2019 self as she is that past self. And then she comes out of it and she's back here. But this is something that I'm hearing more and more from, various sources. Another friend who talked about, being hypnotized in the last week and having this, profound experience of communicating with her higher self, who is this, future time / no time version of herself who's like, look, I'm always here for you. Like, you can reach out anytime. I'm here to connect and guide and help and assist, and helped her to clear up blockages. And so that's such a powerful thing when you understand, I often say when you look at these sort of things, it's relative truths is the best way to approach this idea of time and other selves and whatnot. And the relative truth that you and I are separate, that's a truth. You and I are one from another perspective. That is true. So same kind of thing when you look at time. There is this linear construct we call time that exists and can be shown from a certain perspective. From another perspective, there is no time. From the ultimate, the foundational perspective, there is no time. And Albert Einstein knew this. He talked about this. He said, the distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubborn, persistent illusion. The only reason, he said, for time is so everything doesn't happen at once. And that is just a profound, powerful truth to understand. Okay, if it's all happening now, right? If it all exists now, this future version, this quote unquote future or alternative, let's call it, version of yourself that is, has learned and grown and evolved beyond the place that you currently reside, the perspective and state of consciousness that you currently reside in, it exists now. And it is there for you, like my friend who had this powerful experience, of merging or connecting with, she said her higher self appeared to her and was like, her skin was like made of stars and her eyes were like just incredibly beautiful. And, it's this advanced, powerful extension of self. And she just said, look, and part of the message she received was there is plenty of time. You're in no rush. You get it all done. It all unfolds in perfect divine timing, right? And so you can relax into creating. And that's, I revisit that idea a lot on the show because I know it's such a huge one for me and others. It's like, oh no, now I'm too old or I can't, or I'm out of time. I missed my opportunity. I missed the boat. Meanwhile, you're part of this infinite creative source that is so creative, it can find ways to create what you think you missed the boat on 100. You could miss it 100 more times and it manifests on the 101st. It's that infinite and that beautiful and that powerful. When you start relaxing into this idea that, you are now and now is all there ever is, and a billion Earth years from now, you'll just have progressed into another now with this different set of perspective and consciousness that is somehow a culmination of what's went before it. It's incredible to really ground that into your life experience. All that, so much stress and anxiety. I mean, I look at my own son who's just recently out of high school and, very smart and capable. And what direction do I go? And all these possibilities pop up and it creating anxiety in himself, about what he should or shouldn't do. And I got him to read the Surrender Experiment, which you guys have heard me talk about, or he listened to it on audiobook just in the last few days. And it's had a profound effect because this story of Michael Singer and how he just surrendered to what arose, and knowing that there's something beyond himself from one perspective that knows exactly what's best. You don't need to figure it all out like you thought you did. You need to get out of your higher self's way and allow the synchronicities, allow the things to unfold. Just like with this, the Optimistic Show and the Mystic Manor, that all of a sudden I had a moment of high excitement and divine inspiration to revisit this project. And all of a sudden things just started unfolding, crazy synchronistic things that are just continuing to unfold. So now I know that is a thread for me to follow. I've had other things that you guys who've been listening for a long time have heard me get excited about, the Positive Head app. And I started down a path of creating that. Then it turned into trying to force something. And the person who was building it didn't have the skill set and just hitting walls. And it's like, okay, That's okay. I'm just going to put that aside for now. Maybe it will come back up. Maybe it won't, right? But that's sort of the way, as someone who has a lot that flows through them from a creative standpoint, I've learned how to navigate all of this. You don't even need to create it. You need to let it emerge what's already there, right? The oak tree is already in the acorn, right? If the right conditions arise, then it can flourish, it can sprout, it can grow into something so much greater than its previous self. But if you're constantly stressing about the acorn and what it could or couldn't be and what you need to do, and you're overwatering it and bringing anxiety to it, it's not going to thrive, right? It's going to die. So that's the thing. That's the path that we're all learning to navigate on. And just seeing, I highly recommend the surrender experiment for any of you who really struggle with this. What am I supposed to do? I think it really helped. I know I loved it. It helped me. It helped my son, who has been facing that sort of thing. And it's a big one for a lot of us. So I highly, highly recommend checking that book out, because it will help you to see that, hold on, I'm not supposed to just force things and move things around. I'm supposed to follow the threads of energy that arise. And even sometimes some of those things that arise are things that I'm not I wouldn't have chosen for myself. It's kind of like, think about it like this. If you're making a cake and you love the sugar and you love flour when you make bread, but you hate eggs, right? You would never cook up an egg and eat it, but you love cake. So if you just judged the cake based off of the egg portion, you probably would put it down. And so once you understand that sometimes part of this formula, this recipe for your future, it's going to bring up points or things that you need to deal with. You need to crack an egg, right? And that's a key point or portion of the recipe that is ever unfolding that's bigger than anything that you see right now. That's going to taste really, really delicious in the end. And that's what, Michael Singer realized in the surrender experiment. This isn't really a piece that I want to pursue right now that's bubbling up, but it's obvious from an energetic standpoint that something beyond myself is encouraging me down this path. So there must be a reason, and there's something bigger than myself, and I trust it, and I'm going to follow it. And then, of course, it becomes very, very useful. Oftentimes, he ends up enjoying that process way more. Oh, wow, I actually like eggs. I hadn't tasted them since I was a kid. I forgot. They're delicious. My taste buds have changed, right? So that kind of thing. And as we all become masters of time and space, or even time travelers, if you will, as Bashar in this clip I'm about to share, he says, always in dramatic fashion with Bashar, who I just love. And those of you who aren't familiar, he claims to channel, an entity like others that I share. I always say about these things, I could care less whether they're channeling truly or not. It's the information that's coming through them. And like many of the others who some of my favorite teachers claim to be channeling, like, Esther Hicks, Abraham, the information is so profound and powerful. I personally choose to believe what they're saying, but it's really, ultimately, I don't care. I care about the information. And here's some really powerful information on this idea of time, and also surrendering to what wants to come through you. Take a listen.
A little second day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. We will begin this transmission titled, You Are All Time Travelers, in the following way. First, a brief reminder of some things we have talked about regarding what time is. Time, remember, is a side effect of your consciousness shifting over and over and over and over and over and over again to different points of view of the same single moment of existence.
So I don't have to actively create my desires if I just follow the flow.
If you follow the flow, your needs will always manifest if they are relevant for who you truly are. There is nothing you need to do beyond that. The current of creation, your current in creation, already knows where you need to go. Surrender is not surrendering control. Surrendering is surrendering to the control that's already built into you. That's why you go with the flow. The current already knows where you need to go. You don't need to make things happen. Making things happen, believing that you need to make things happen, is resistance to the current. Everything that's relevant for you is already contained within the current's energy. Just go with the flow. Your life will unfold naturally. You will respond to it in a positive way. Synchronicity will abound. Everything that needs to happen in your life that's relevant for you to experience will happen in perfect timing. That's all there is to it. You don't need to make it work. The machine works. Let it work. Let it work. Don't stop it by thinking you know better what should happen here. No, you don't. Many of you have to get to the point where you finally have to admit to yourself, I have no bloody idea.
I experienced that.
All right, then go with that. That, as many people on your own planet say, is the beginning of wisdom, to know that you don't know.
Yeah.
But your higher mind does. Remember, your physical mind is only designed to experience what's happening. It doesn't have any other job. It's not capable of performing any other function. Your higher mind knows what needs to happen. And it speaks to you to let you know what needs to happen by manifesting its communication in you as passion. Because passion you're willing to follow, except when you let negative beliefs stop you. So stop talking yourselves out of hearing your higher mind. That's all you have to do. Stop talking yourselves out of hearing and listening and following what your higher mind is doing to guide you by sending the communication of passion to you. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. No. I know better. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Okay, higher mind says, go ahead, walk that path. Oops, look at that. She fell into a hole. I wonder why. I was going to guide her around it, but she insisted she knew better, so plop, there you go. Let me help you up out of the hole now, dust you off. Are you willing to listen to your passion now? No? Still stubborn? Okay, there's another hole over there. Go that way.
Yeah, he says it well here. Time is different points of view of the same single moment of existence. And he talks about this idea of creating versus emerging, right? Your needs, whatever a lot of people stress about, oh, my needs being met. There's not enough. I'm going to go without. And really, when you think about it, everyone out there listening, has there ever been a challenge that you faced that you didn't find your way through and survive? Right. And as you sit and listen to this, you're fed, you probably have a warm place to sleep. You are, you've actually come through it much easier than many who are out there. And that is something to be so thankful for and appreciative of. Yet here you are questioning all of that happening. Yet it's happened again and again and again and again. The truth is this, and the more you trust it, the more it makes it true. The more you believe it, the more it makes it true. Your needs will always manifest. Your current already knows where you need to go. Your higher self knows where you need to go. Quit resisting it. And I love how he said surrendering is not surrendering control. Surrender is surrendering to the control that is already built into you. You've already, been there, done that, gotten the t-shirt with all of the things that are in front of you, right? You're just allowing them to emerge again. So in some sense, it's like you're riding the surfboard. You're not learning to surf as much as you are just flowing and riding. Trying to force things to happen, especially when they're not flowing, that's resisting the current. You'll know because, like I talked about with, all the things unfolding with optimistic in the mystic manner, synchronicities are abounding. They just keep coming, and you don't need to make it work. The machine already works. And that's why I believe that's the path for me on the go forward. Should that stop? Should all of that freeze up, dry up, and it becomes difficult and like I'm forcing something? I'll just very simply stop. I don't need it to happen. I don't need anything to happen. I am an infinite divine being who has everything it needs at its disposal. This or something better, right? This is the beginning of wisdom, to know that you don't know. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to just trust the process. I like how he also said, your physical mind is really designed to deal with what's already happening. Your higher mind knows what is supposed to happen. And that's, by the way, what gives you those divine moments of inspiration, right? Like me waking up, a week ago or whatever, and like having all these ideas come to me. And then as I start to pursue them, they unfold so naturally and magically and synchronistically. It's like, so you're going to, it's like Mozart said, he's like, I don't, when asked about making the music, his music, he's like, I don't make anything. It comes through me, right? It's divine inspiration. Your just job is to follow that passion and, stop talking yourself out of hearing your higher mind by being realistic and grounded or all those things that are really just cutting off your connection to this expanded version of yourself. Well, this has been a magical adventure in no time and space yet again. I so enjoy all of you. Thank you for taking the time to listen, taking the time to tune in. Okay, I'll stop with the time puns. I just can't help myself. It is a word we use a lot. This is a song called called Terra Nullius. It was written by Kin, which is a mashup project of Headflux and Alex Delfont. And it's a great track. Hope you enjoy it. Till next time, journey well. Love you all so much. Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to let you all know that we have finally created the Game with the Universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind, and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time by doing this manually. But now, if you go to positivehead.com/YO universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to engage and invite friends, family, people on social media to check out the podcast as well. So be sure to check out positivehead.com/YOUNIVERSE, and be sure to tell all your friends so they can play a game with the universe, which also helps the show to reach new people, which I greatly appreciate. And as a quick reminder, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them every day. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I can't stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so, and I'm sincerely excited to share it with all of you. Lastly, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.